I get asked all the time what a corporate action hero virtual program looks like. You see, most people, when they find me as a speaker, it's because they're looking for something out of the ordinary, something out of the box, something different. That's why they find the guy with the whips and the nunchucks and they bring them into their event to show them, that it's what they can achieve and how they can do it. Now, how does that translate to a virtual program? So unlike a lot of other speakers, my virtual programs have to be different. They have to be unique. And so what I do is I create a program that is very unique. It's a multimedia program. It uses graphic elements and video elements and text elements and a lot of effects and things in the actual program itself. That program is introduced first. Before the event starts for 10 minutes, there's a 10-minute countdown clock. That way, if anybody comes to the page early, they know they're in the right place. That countdown clock is branded with your company logo, and it says, presents John Davis, the Corporate Action Hero. And at the end of the 10-minute countdown clock, it goes to a video clip. Now, that video clip is something that I have collected from your CEO, from your representative who's going to actually introduce me. Now, they can use this moment to greet their people. They can deliver a message that they want to deliver. They can even share, their goals and things they want to achieve in the year. And then they end just saying, and now, I'd like to introduce our speaker. So what I'd like to do in this video is I would like to show you an abbreviated version of what that looks like. And so I asked my good friend Holly from the Word Doctor to step in as your CEO. And I'm going to show you the last 5 seconds of our countdown clock. And then we're going to go into your CEO, which is Holly is standing in for. And then we're going to go through the process, and I'm going to show you some of the elements that I would use and some of the things that would make your program unique. Some of the things that really show what you want your audience to get. On top of that, with a virtual program, you also receive a digital download of a workbook for them to have and use. They get additional video content, and they have the ability on that hidden page that they're going to get. They have the ability on that page to sign up for a motivational video monthly for a year. And there are no sales pitches in the videos. It is strictly you sign up here and you're going to get 12 monthly motivational videos to keep the motivation going from the speech. So let's look at what a program looks like. This is how it would start.
Hello, my name is Holly Matson, and with my company, The Word Doctor, I'm one of John's success partners. Today, I'm standing in for your CEO or company representative. They can use this spot for welcoming attendees, to set an agenda, or to make announcements. And then they would introduce John by saying, now we'd like to introduce our speaker.
In a world where motivational speakers are a dime a dozen, one man stands out among the rest. John Davis has lived the life of an action hero. He has been a professional fight director and stuntman for stage and screen, an artistic director of 4 regional theme parks, a sword-fighting comedian, and a motivational speaker, author, and coach. With his comedy show, John leveraged his performances to make the world a better place. He created one of the region's largest holiday charity events, the Hack and Slash Christmas Special. It funded 16 global clean water projects, collected over 2 tons of food and clothing for local homeless shelters, sent 2 children with cancer to Walt Disney World through the Make-A-Wish Foundation, helped fund and physically build Habitat for Humanity homes for low-income families. Additionally, he helped raise funds for the American Cancer Society's important research. After the tragic events of September 11th, John brought his comedy and inspirational message to the brave men and women of our armed forces in 16 countries around the globe, including the front lines of both Iraq and Afghanistan on 6 USO tours. Ladies and gentlemen, Prepare to awaken your inner action hero, and please welcome John Davis, the Corporate Action Hero.
So after that introduction goes, I would come in and I would say, welcome guys. Hi, I'm John Davis, Corporate Action Hero. And I would tell some jokes, and I would create a rapport with the audience, and I would set up the 5 Fs. And the 5 Fs are based in the fight or flight response. And in my process of talking to your team, I'll mention the fight or flight response. And then I'll say, for those of you who don't fully understand what the fight or flight response is, check out this video. Whenever we encounter something new or uncertain, we have an inherent primal response. Every new encounter is judged to be a threat or not. This is a very natural and subconscious reaction handed down to us from our ancestors. It's how we, as a species, survived. Unfortunately, it now hinders us in a time when most of us are less likely to be eaten by a saber-toothed tiger. The fight or flight response is a subconscious reaction, and it takes a conscious choice to break the pattern. Luckily, there are direct physical responses that show us when we're in this state. Being able to recognize it gives us the opportunity to break the pattern. The 5 Fs, as I call them, are a simple way of hacking the fight or flight response. They break the pattern. So, after that video about the fight or flight response, we come back and I start building into what the 5 Fs are. The first of the 5 Fs is fearlessness. And fearlessness is demonstrated in a very fun way. I first of all start to talk about the idea of how I myself, to become a motivational speaker after wearing tights and living in the woods as a sword fighting comedian for so long, how I myself had to get out of my own fear to step into a new venue, to try something new, to achieve something more. And I start talking about it, and in a funny way, I introduce the bullwhip. And at this point in your video, I would step over to my larger studio, which would actually happen when I stepped from the last video. I would step over to my larger studio, and I would do a piece on the whip, and I would crack the whip into the camera. And as I cracked it into the camera, I would make jokes about, aren't you glad this is a virtual event now? And then I would come back and I would talk about how the only way to demonstrate fearlessness truthfully is to do my favorite part of one of my live programs, which is stepping off the stage and going out to choose a person to come to the stage. And then I go out and I start talking about what I want for a person, the person to come to the stage. And I'm looking for an action hero, someone with an aerodynamic hairstyle, someone with a rock hard masculine body. And at one event, I chose Tom. And then I show a video of Tom and I demonstrating fearlessness. Tom, don't worry. I've done this at least twice. And I have been drinking since the early morning hours. So in the video, we talked about the idea of positivity and the positive outcome that creates an environment where we can be fearless. Right? The next one is focus. We want to get focused on what we're going for. So the second of the 5 Fs is, in fact, focus. And so focus comes in, and we're going to look at focus in a very unique way, because focus is about goal setting. It's about setting our goal that we're going for and achieving it, but not just setting it, but actually staying positive about its outcome, staying in a positive mindset about the idea that it's going to happen. And I tell some really fun stories about where your focus goes, and I kind of share how your conscious focus kicks your subconscious mind in to help you achieve your goals. And I tell an interesting story about how when we decide what kind of car we want to buy, how we start seeing that car everywhere because we consciously chose it and our subconscious mind kicked in. It's the same thing with negative people. They consciously chose negativity, so they unconsciously always see negative things. And so we talk about focus. We go through that process, and next thing you know, we go into the next of the 5 Fs, which is faith. And faith is unique because faith is not the kind of spiritual faith that most people think of. Faith that I'm talking about is confidence, belief that you can do it, belief in yourself, self-confidence, and the idea of being totally in faith that you're going to achieve something. You can have a positive attitude about something, but you have to know you can do it. You have to have that core strength to achieve it.
Somebody got booty. Put your feet underneath you. Straight down, straight down. You want your weight on your feet and on your back, and lift your butt off the chair. Same thing here. All your weight.
Oh my God.
Okay.
We got this, guys. We got this.
For the next 20 minutes, I'd like to talk about teamwork. Hey guys.
And then I tell a really funny story about my son when he was 6 years old and how he did this process of teaching me what faith really was when he was 6. And we'll talk about that at a later time. So that's the faith element. And now that we go into fearlessly focus with faith, now we go into follow through. And when we get into follow through, we start talking about the idea of a Chevy van that I used to have. And I talk about how your thoughts and words are great, but it's your deeds that get things done. And how it's not the giant success that just magically appears in your experience. It's the small present moment successes that brings that success to you. And how you have to do the small successful moments one at a time and let them build. And once they build, they build upon themselves until they become a giant mass. And that giant mass realizes itself in your positive outcome. So that's the next element. So fearlessly focus with faith, follow through. So the next in the 5 F's is flexibility. Now in flexibility, I talk about the idea of Bruce Lee and how his mindset was to be like water. And I share this idea that when you're going for your goals, there's always something that's going to come up that's going to seem contrary to what you're trying to achieve. And when that happens, what you're going to do is you're going to stay flexible. And then I will do a really crazy, fun nunchuck routine, once again in the larger studio.
Nunchucks, look what they are. They're 2 rigid obstacles. Here's you. Here's the obstacle you're trying to overcome. They do not bend towards each other. They do not work together unless you add flexibility in between. Once you add flexibility, you end up with a really interesting experience because they can work together. That was really scary. Right? They look really kind of cool, right? You can applaud at any time. Right? Now, what I'm doing right now is called the Crazy 8. And the reason I want to show you the Crazy 8 because it's got an important message in it as well. If I slow it down a little bit, you're going to notice my hands opening there and there and there and there. I am not micromanaging every moment of the nunchucks. I am allowing the motion that I've set into play to actually happen. And sometimes it'll do all kinds of really cool things. If I keep holding on, if I keep trying to form what's going to happen and not trust the team around me or the equipment that I've put in place to do the job, what happens is I make my life harder, I make everyone else's life harder, and I make the process harder, right? I have to be flexible and allow others to do their part as well, right? And then in the end, you're going to have all kinds of cool experiences like that, right? Fun.
The next element is that I start talking about the 5 F's again. And in the 5 F's, I want to demonstrate that how the 5 F's actually work. And I start talking about the idea that the only way I can demonstrate what the 5 F's are is to actually show you the 5 F's in action. And I bring a person to the stage who has never cracked a whip before. And in under 5 minutes, that person takes a whip that they've never cracked, they learn to crack it, and hit targets out of my hand. Now, how do you do that in a virtual presentation? Well, obviously, I can't grab someone from your audience and yank them into my camera and pull them here. So I'm using a video clip again. And I use a very effective video clip from an event that I did in Michigan.
There. Take a breath, relax. Just look where you want it to go, and cast your fishing rod. Okay. Don't stop at the back. All one motion. There you go.
By the end of the event, I start talking about how once you've learned the 5 F's, you can then do amazing things. But once you achieve that first success, you then realize that it works. And once you realize it works, then The second one comes easier. And then I start doing a really fancy, crazy, wild bullwhip routine that's going to be a video clip again, of course, because of the fact that having a wider screen with an audience, it's just a much more impactful event for your team. And then at the end, after it's all said and done, I come back and I come to this desk right here and I do a live Q&A with them asking questions right here. And I just answer and we talk about the scenarios that they're dealing with in the workplace and their personal lives if they want to go there. We just talk about, scenarios, how we can use the 5 Fs and how that works. And then I, of course, share the digital workbook and where they can get that. And I send them on their merry way. And that's what a corporate action hero virtual event kind of looks like. It's actually more dynamic than what you're seeing right now. You're seeing some of the effects and some of the things of that nature. The bigger studio is actually in front of a giant fireplace, so you have a different visual there as well. It just gives me more room to crack a whip and to do nunchucks out there. So you would have the ability to then see how an event would work for your team. And every event that I do is tailored for your team. So every event I do is specifically designed to meet your goals. And so by delivering it the way I deliver it, I'm still delivering a very, very unique virtual presentation, something that's not just someone speaking directly into a camera and putting up PowerPoint slides. Instead, it's a virtual thing with video and graphics and effects and things of that nature, so that it keeps their interest going and keeps them moving. So that's what a Corporate Action Hero virtual event looks like. And contact me today if you're interested in learning more about it or talking about how we can create one for your event or for your company. And I hope to talk to you soon. Have a great day. See ya. Bye.